piloting something similar like the Charizards. We get a chance to see the prizes now for both our players, and this is a massive tell there for Aarni's side with a Dragapult in the middle, and on the right-hand side, Jaman with the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX and the Hoot, giving you a little bit of an inkling that it is a Raging Bolt matchup here in Swiss round 7. We're kicking things off, fist bump. Let's just see who's going first. It'll be our Raging Bolts player to start us off.
Yaman goes in, of course, with the Mew EX and the active, which is a nice start. We've got the free retreat and restart ability to really make that hand flush with cards even from the beginning. Now, we might be looking for something either like our Ditto with transformative start that can only be used on your first turn, or similarly, a Fan Rotom with its ability, which can only be used on your first turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And this deck sort of thrives in being able to utilize that Raging Bolt EX with that Bellowing Thunder attack, dealing 70 times the number of energies attached to all of your Pokemon and just ditching it to the discard pile, dealing a lot of damage. And it is one way to take massive knockouts on big Terra Pokemon like that Dragapult EX, but it does so with the supporting cast of things like that Teal Mask Ogerpon EX with that Teal Dance ability, able to help accelerate energy to the board. But then there's also Pokemon, just like we've seen in the prizes, that Hoot that could evolve up to the Noctowls and use Jewel Seeker with a Terror in play to be able to cherry pick trainer cards at will. That is just utilizing that Fan Rotom, I believe, as well.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of that new art of the Fan Rotom we got from Ascended Heroes, so we're feeling pretty good about that. That was already in hand, and then we can retreat with the Mew into the Ditto for transformative start. I know we've all got a bit of the Ditto fever right now. I wonder why. And so, of course, we're absolutely ecstatic to see our little blue blob friend turn itself into a lovely Ogerpon.
Yeah, I haven't quite seen one of those Dittos yet, but maybe there is one out there.
You never know.
We get a Water Energy attachment, and that's key here up against a deck, especially when he's facing up against a Badoo for the moment, because he's wanting to utilize that fantastic attack from that Water Ogerpon, Wellspring Ogerpon EX. As we do see now, the Buddy Poffin come down from Aarni. Remember, you are a stage 2 deck, so we do have to start setting up that board state first.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. Both players doing a prize check right now, I believe, so just checking on that during your opponent's turn just helps to speed things up a bit. Probably ask permission, asked Aarni, oh, is it all right? And then he's just having a little flick through, so don't worry about Aman right now. It is Aarni's turn. They are just starting to flick through, do that essential prize checking, know roughly what's in there so they know what to expect, how to manage their resources. And we see 2 Dreepy hit the board to start things off with this Dragapult.
Yeah, so let's just see what else is in hand right now, because it doesn't look super strong at the moment. It's got a lot of energy cards. Don't really see a supporter yet, as we do finally see the finish of the shuffling there from Jaman's side. And it's just, I think he's having to try and work out how this is going to play out. I need to double check what actually is in hand. It looks
might
like
just be an itchy pollen.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tough spot here, because he is facing up against Jaman's Wellspring Ogerpon EX. It is an itchy pollen, 10 damage on that Ogerpon EX in the active spot. So now what can we work with? We need to get some energies on the board. We do have access, of course, to the Noctowl from that fan call of the Fan Rotom. So we'll be able to find cards such as that Crispin.
I tell you what's quite scary is the idea of a torrential pump this turn, which could be possible with that energy switch that's already in hand. We can energy switch from the Teal Mask Ogerpon to the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. But for now, we're just going to use Sob. Keep that Badoo in the active. And of course, oh no, we knock out because of the Vitality Band.
Yeah,
wow.
Imagine that. Being able to deal the 20 plus 10 from the Vitality Band
Incredible.
back, and just knock out the Badoo. And, well, you know you're facing up against a Dragapult deck, and in this current iteration of Dragapult decks, not often do we see things like rare candies or anything like that. So you're still saying, well, I've just got an energy attachment. I didn't have to waste my Hoot that's on the bench to evolve into a Noctowl. And I'm still in a great position because I'm only 1 energy away from that attack you just called out, Amy.
Yeah, honestly, I'm such a glutton. Like, I am so greedy when I play, where I would have just played everything I could. But holding back like this is such a smart move.
Yeah, key pickup there from Aarni from that Recon Directive. Has found a supporter. It is an Iono in hand now, but just deliberating what else he could potentially play. Has that counter catcher in hand as well. Maybe try and slow the game down. goes for that hoot hoot, but this is a massive pickup from that recon directive there. Just being able to see 3 cards is so vital, and this is where potentially Aarni could get back into the game.
Yeah, buying that time, Iono to disrupt German's hand, knowing he has the Noctowl in hand as well from that fan call at the beginning. Now, already I'm seeing some cards that are quite advantageous for Arman, so I think that Iono's unfortunately not quite hit the disruptive mark it was hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. Here comes another Pokepad, a great card that's kind of fitted in so well into this Dragapult EX deck. Just being able to cherry pick those Pokemon that allow you to just get your engine going with that Recon Directive. So we do see the second Dracloak come down now, and we're going to see a further Recon Directive. Maybe just try and continue building out that board. Would love to find another maybe Buddy Poffin to just get more Dreepies down, or even start trying to threat the Dust Goals down to eventually evolve up into those pesky Dusclops and Dusknoirs.
Yeah, Dusknoir's a really good attacker in this game in its own right, like being able to put damage and sprinkle damage across the board to weaken down the opponent so that they're in range of a perfect Dragapult KO is beautiful. The mathematics that work with this deck, iconic. And of course, well said, Alex. Here come the Duskull now.
Yeah, here comes the clan as the Jamming Towel also hits the field, does render that Vitality Band useless with that supporter, and the Itchy Pollen on that Hoot Hoot as well. I did have a little gander to hand. There is another Noctowl there, but we have a Grass Energy to Teal Dance first. Let's see what we can pick up.
Ooh.
Pokepad not playable because of Itchy Pollen.
No, not quite yet, but we can go ahead, bench this next Hoot Hoot. We could evolve into a Noctowl, which will make retreating a little bit tougher, but we might play something that might just help us out. I don't know if we have sort of a hard switching option.
No, but we can still go into a Crispin, perhaps.
Ooh.
Get the energy attachment to the active and also attach from hand to the Wellspring Ogerpon EX as well. Then it's that terrifying attack that you've been so eagerly anticipating, Amy. So let's just see whether that's the direction. There comes the Crispin. And here comes, what's the energy that he chooses to go for right now as well? He's just kind of eyeing up what the second card is. Obviously can't play an item card for the moment. So just pulling out the Nest Ball. There comes the Crispin. One fighting, one lightning energy. We've already got the water energy attached to the Wellspring. So there's the Crispin attachment, hand attachment onto the Wellspring Ogerpon EX. Torrential Pump is now live.
And that is a terrifying concept for Pokemon with quite low HP at this stage. Here comes the Torrential Pump. Of course, we're going for the Dracloak with the energy, and poor Badoo in the active, rendering Aarni with no energy in play.
Yeah, and no other Badoo right now either, so Aarni can't just go straight into another Badoo immediately, but we do have the Dracloak in the active spot. Now it's just kind of determining what direction we go down here. Has another Iono in hand, ready and waiting. I think he actually had to top deck that as well, so saved himself having to try and recon directive out of this position for the moment. Here comes Iono, could be a big 6 cards, putting down Jamal now down to 3. So let's see exactly what happens in this scenario and just whether Jamal was able to work his way out of this as well. Not the greatest of cards in Jamal's hand, but it's on Aarni really to try and find a way back into this game, and it's not the best right now. It does have another Dreepy. Recon Directive's got to be big here.
Could be a big one. Is that Lily's?
Lily's, but he's already played Iono.
Yeah, it might just help for next turn, though, if we're that desperate, unfortunately.
Maybe to retreat, he needs the energy as well.
Gosh.
So it's a tricky spot. Oh, no, he did have another energy in hand, it looks like. So there are double there. But I guess he wants to try and get hold of those energies as soon as possible. Will he go into another Badoo here just to try and slow the game down that little bit more? At the same time, it's a scary thought because you are still staring at a Wellspring Ogerpon EX with a Vitality Band that's not live. But if he goes into Badoo, it does mean that Badoo does get sob-locked for the moment.
Yeah.
But we're going into Pheasantipity first.
Yeah, I think this is a great play there. Pheasantipity, draw more cards. We're struggling right now, so we really need to be making that hand a lot more lush and get so much more going on. We're currently lacking so many factors that Dragapult really needs to thrive, and facing down an opponent that can take out multiple prizes in one turn, still a bit terrifying. Oh, that wasn't quite it, Alex.
No, that was another Dreepy. It looked like another item card, which wouldn't have helped this scenario for the moment. I think that was a Night Stretcher, so it's just eyeing up that Badoo for the for this potential turn once again. I mean, the dream scenario would have been something like the Dragapult EXs with the Neo Upper energy, just to be able to kind of try and protect it. Here comes the Night Stretcher for Badoo. Ichipollen now back live once again. Could find himself in this scenario, though. Dreepy comes down, of course, as well. Will have to use another energy to retreat after already discarding one from the Ultra Ball. But Badoo now, they're just kind of sitting and waiting, just trying to save its friends.
Hold on, Badoo. I believe in you.
Does have counter catcher. Could be another option just to try and slow the game down. Stop the sub lock, maybe. But it has to be on maybe something like the Noctowl.
I think utilizing energy like Luminous Energy for a retreat feels so bad because it's so hard to recur. You practically can't. We've gone for the counter catcher on the Hoot Hoot, which I think is a curious decision. Could, you know, these sorts of decks are typical of running Latias EX. So that would be sort of an easy way with Area 0 Underdepths to get out of this. So usually I feel like you would go for the Noctowl to be a little bit safer with that as it's an evolution Pokemon. Here comes the Area 0 Underdepths.
Now able to build out that board state up to 8 Pokemon on the bench here. Looks like it's just kind of laying out his board there. Does get the Raging Bolt EX. Does also get a Mew restarts off as well. Does have a Grass Energy, so just deliberating whether trying to commit to the active. But obviously, that wouldn't really help in this scenario.
We do have the Noctowl, so we can go into some extra cards that might help us out in this scenario. We could, again, go for the Crispin angle. We could go for some Ball Search for that Latios. And we're going to go for the Teal Dance for now. Do a boogie on the bench and see if it helps.
Does, I think, find the kind of quote-unquote baby Raging Bolt for the moment. There's a Nocta. Oh, just double-checking. I think it's just setting up the board so that we're able to keep it as clear as possible for everyone to follow at the same time. Yeah, so there comes the Jewel Seeker. It's just kind of eyeing up maybe another Crispin angle here. So it's just
it worked well last time. It can work well again.
Yeah, but I guess you can just go straight back into the Wellspring Ogerpon EX once again. Does take another KO with the Vitality Band now back online because of the Area 0 Underdepths that has come in. But yeah, it's the Crispin that is eyeing up here. Of course, all those energies shuffled back in from the Torrential Pump. Double Crispin choice.
Crispin? That's so crispy.
It is very crispy indeed. Water and the fighting energy now. Getting the fighting energy is obviously very important to get into the discard pile. So I imagine that one will go on the active Noctowl there, so it can get discarded and then be targets for Professor Zarda's Vitality in future turns. Water energy on the Wellspring Ogerpon, just threatening that Torrential Pump once again.
But for now, it looks like we're going to leave poor little Badoo crying away as we sob through the itchy pollen.
Absolutely. There comes the baby Raging Bolt as well as another knockout. Jalan down now to 2 prizes remaining. Aarni back up against the wall here. What are we working with? That's a Power Pad.
Oh, Pokepad is here, but I don't really know if that's going to be of a whole lot of help. We can get the Dragapult with that, but we need energy really quite badly, so that's not quite enough yet. We do have that Recon Directive. We do have our Flip the Script. It's just about the sequencing.
Yeah, the Pokepad can help to draw more cards as well with another maybe Dracloak, for example. Let's use Flip the Script first. Is that a Dragapult into hand? No, that's a Hawlucha.
Oh.
Still missing a couple of pieces. He is playing 3 copies of Dragapult EX. With 1 prize, it does mean, you know, there is a way of hopefully finding one of the 2 that remain in the deck there. There's the Dracloak coming down from the Pokepad. Again, we talked about how important that is as a card in this deck now. It has had a couple of consistency issues before, but has often found ways around it with Badoo to slow the game down before getting into the Dracloaks. But now you can kind of get into them with far more ease.
Yeah, now we're just looking for Neo Upper Energy. We're going to need that.
There's an Ultra Ball. That'll get Dragapult EX.
That's getting us our evolved guy, but now we still need the energy, and it's
just counter
slim
catcher.
pickings. It's just not enough.
Was there a supporter in hand? I don't believe I saw one. Oh, then maybe there is. Is that a? It looks like one supporter. Yeah, it might be a Lily's there. So might still be able to work with 8 new cards, but this is where you have to commit maybe to the Dragapult EX now because you've already found your Ultra Ball. And then, of course, the options to play additional cards down. Looks like might be pitching away. Want to keep that bench space open to give yourself as many options as possible. Here comes the Ultra Ball. Yeah, I can only imagine this is going to be a Dragapult EX.
The difficult part here as well is that if it is a Lily's, let's say it's a Lily's just for argument's sake, you do want to be discarding some cards because any that aren't useful to you right now actually are getting in the way because they're going to get shuffled back in and you could end up with almost the same hand again.
Yeah, one way to make this a little bit easier to get an attack off and take a couple of prizes is to utilize that Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, only requiring 1 energy in this scenario because of that seasoned skill ability. Blood Moon then dealing 240 damage for 1 energy. Can't attack on the next turn, but that's one way to have an efficient attacker. But it's a little bit easier to knock out if, for example, Jaman's able to find something like a Professor Sada's Vitality and just get swinging away with that big Raging Bolt EX. Yeah, it's Dragapult EX coming down now to hand. So very interesting and intricate sort of decision-making that has to happen here. Hilda in hand as well. That would guarantee an attack off. But you're leaving.
Okay, we love that. Hilda's one of the newer additions to our supporter pool. And honestly, this is one of the reasons she is so powerful. She can search any type of energy. It's rare that we find supporters that help us search out those special energy because they're just that. They're so special and so powerful that quite often a supporter isn't able to fetch it. But Hilda circumvents that, grabs us not only an energy of any type, but also an evolution Pokemon. And what more could we want right now than that? Dusclops.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess if it wasn't an Iono in hand to try and minimize the cards in your opponent's sort of having access to, playing a Lily rather than, or just guaranteeing the energy attachment with the Dragapult EX here is far more vital. It will be a massive knockout with this Phantom Dive, 200 to the active Wellspring Ogerpon EX, which only has 200 left after the Badoo Itchy Pollen. Now just deciding how else we can utilize this Horlucha's Flying Entry ability as well. 1 little pings going to 2 Pokemon on your opponent's bench, chooses the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX and also that Fan Rotom there, bringing them both down to 260 HP respectively. Oh, big target here with a counter catcher as well. This is massive. Removing the energy from play and could be a fantastic way to just try and limit what Jaman could do in terms of a massive knockout on the next turn. Phantom Dive really threatening the board state here.
Absolutely. Picking apart a man's board state. That first knockout for Aarni is finally underway, and the pace has been set for the end of the game. We're going toe to toe now, as both players are on few prize cards. But Armano only needs to take 1 more knockout. Having a lot of energy on the board was crucial. So unfortunately, that plan has been picked apart slightly, and it's going to be much more difficult to take down a full HP Dragapult EX.
Yeah, so we do see the Nest Ball here first. Maybe iron up something like that Pheasantipity of his own. Having seen Pokemon get knocked out now, that would help draw a few more cards for the time being. I guess he still does have a Terra Pokemon in play, so still has plenty of bench space to work with as well. I mean, is there a way to stretch to not 7 energies? 7 times 5, 350 damage to 7 times 5 because of the 70.
Other way around you could maybe think about this is maybe we could think about Prime Catcher with the Ogerpon, with the Wellspring Ogerpon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if we crisp into the Wellspring Ogerpon and use Prime Catcher in the same turn, then we still win this game thanks to the lower HP Pokemon on the other side of the board like Duskull and Horlucha.
Yeah, so it's just, can you just draw with Flip the Script a Prime Catcher to actually just take this game here? You're right, this is with the energy already on that Wellspring. Does have Crispin in hand already because he already picked up 2 of those from the last Jewel Seeker. He's actually putting himself in a fantastic spot, but there's still quite a thick deck, so 3 cards here. Let's see.
And it's all about sequencing this as well as he can. And we need to leave the energy in the deck, so here we go.
Ooh, Professor Sada's Vitality.
Double Sada.
So not the direction necessarily we want to go down now. Just looking at maybe just pitching away that area 0 under decks with an Earthen Vessel, being able to grab 2 energies from your deck, which is incredible, because then if you're able to find maybe another Teal Mask Ogerpon, you can get some more energies spread out on the board state. You can play one of the Professor Sada's Vitality, maybe even try and find something like, I don't know. Is there,
I think we're
there is no
committing to the
energy
Sada
switch?
play. We're committing to Sada going ahead and attaching to both of our Raging Bolts respectively. One Lightning, one Fighting Energy, and then we get the draw 3 on top of that. We have the Night Stretcher for the Teal Mask Ogerpon, and then we can carry on drawing cards and accelerating energy to try and get to this huge HP total.
Just needs one more Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, right? Was that 5? Oh, sorry, he's hit 5. That's a massive knockout on the Dragapult. 70 times the number of damage for every energy you discard from your board. Will mean that's 350 damage to take the final 2 prizes. Jalan takes this game 1 in incredible fashion, in all honesty.
Our round 7 of Seville, bringing it forth with an old favorite. Raging Bolt showing that it hasn't roared its final roar. It's coming back with style. Let's take a look at this replay. As we saw in game 1, Aman just absolutely flooded the board with so many basics straight away and really made very good use of this Wellspring Ogerpon, making sure that Badu was getting knocked out with each attack thanks to that Vitality Band. A beautiful play, an exquisite addition to the deck to keep back-to-back knocking out these Badu and then landing that huge torrential pump, setting the pace for the game, leaving Aarni on no energy in play whatsoever. Taking more Badu with that Vitality Band back-to-back, it puts so much work in considering it's not considered the main attacker of this deck. And then we managed to piece it together right at the end, putting all of our faith into Professor Sada to close out the game.
Yeah, incredible sort of display of sort of almost like 2 archetypes coming together to really be able to give Raging Bolt a chance against one of these typically sometimes quite difficult matchup to walk through, you know, because sometimes you're going to be hit with Ionos after massive sort of big knockouts. Well, whilst you can try and build the board in the background, you can start trying to take little sort of single prizes where you can, because typically you want to always be taking 2 prizes where you need to with that deck.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's imperative, and losing those attack kind of opportunities is huge.
Absolutely. As both our players are setting up for this game 2 now. If you are just joining us, this is Swiss round 7 of the Seville Special Championships here. Aarni currently 1 game down against Yaman here. That Dragapult EX against a Raging Bolt, I guess, Wellspring Ogerpon deck at the moment, as both our players now are putting out their prizes, getting ready for this game 2. There's a pink card there for Jaman with that Prime Catch and double Dreepy on the left-hand side, which is not pretty at all. But let's see how we're going to maneuver out of this position. There's the fist bump. Game 2 underway.
Raging Bolt and Badu to start it off. We've got a real David and Goliath situation here. And another Dreepy to join Badu on the bench with Duskull. Straight attachment with the Luminous Energy. Much better start this time, but I can't see a lot to back it up with next turn.
That hand is not pretty once again, Amy. I'm going to be completely honest, but let's see how Jaman's going to play this turn out, because he does have the Fan Rotom now. I believe it must have been top deck, so I'm sure he would have started that given the opportunity to do so, but it's going to be that Fan Call, I'm sure, being able to grab 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less. One of its best partners, its partners in crime, the Hoot-Hoots and the Noctowls, I'm sure, going to be coming to the hand here. It's going to be looking for maybe that Latias as well, just for that maneuverability, that Skyliner ability, being able to give all basic Pokemon free retreat on your side of the board. And actually has a couple of pieces in hand already. Could take that Badu down.
Yeah, we didn't see the Latias last time.
No, it was prized, unfortunately, but didn't need it.
We didn't need it, though. And so, I don't know, Aarni might take a leaf from that and think, oh, maybe he's not playing it, and maybe that will give some advantage to Aman next time. But for now, we've got Hoot-Hoot. Everyone's favorite Ditto is back.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's being put away.
We don't want it. We're just getting, well, if we can't get into it on this first turn, especially since we need to Ultra Ball for something like the Latias anyway, if that's the direction we go down here, well, we might as well use it as discard fodder.
Yeah, Ditto can only transform if it's in the active spot, and it looks like we're going to struggle to make that happen this turn. So instead, Ditto's being used in a similar way, but being discarded instead to provide the Pokemon that we need. Thanks for your help, Ditto.
Yeah, at least you're not going to be stuck in the deck and just waiting to just be stared at into someone's hand for a while. So here comes the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, hitting the bench there. Hopefully we have another grass energy to be able to teal dance as well. That kind of gives us an opportunity here. Professor Solar's Vitality to the active. We can also, I mean, we don't see it too often sometimes, but Burst Roar is available as an option.
I've been a burst roarer in my time. Yeah, it's a great move, but unfortunately, this is not the hand you want to burst roar.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really want to be throwing away too many of those, and it's just a pass over now. Unfortunately, couldn't find access into that. Latias does have Stadium and did have, of course, the energy in hand, but here comes Pokepad. No Wellspring Ogrepon EX staring down at Aarni this time. That Pokepad actually saved Aarni because I was looking at that hand with quite a lot of scrutiny just then, and I don't think there was anything there. He does have Dragapult EX in the hand as well, so if he can survive one more turn, we'll be able to get into a Dragapult EX. But of course, still needs to find a couple of more pieces. Can Recon Directive save him here?
Come on, Dracloak. Let's see if we've got it.
Top 2, Ultra Ball.
An Ultra Ball is something.
Yeah.
It's not particularly helpful right now, especially since Oman didn't take a knockout. We can't use it for Serendipity. We can't draw more cards, and we can't progress the game. It might be an Itchy Pollen angle.
Yeah, but that's one of the potential gambles you might have to take here, not utilizing that Ultra Ball for now, and maybe saving it for something like that Serendipity. I think that's what we're deliberating, because if the man does happen to have a boss or prime catcher, it could be real. Can't use prime catcher on the Itchy Pollen lock though, but boss's orders and energy could do it.
And I think we've got that exact combination being lined up. I think the issue is that because we can't use items, we can't use anything to get energy with this Noctowl, so we're going to have to use Crispin potentially to attach our energy anyway. So it's a shame that we can't use the boss in hand, but that's exactly what Badu is built for.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess playing the safer game here for the moment, as we do get a Nest Ball and the Crispin here. Crispin, let's just see exactly where those energy attachments are likely to go. Can't imagine it's going to go anywhere beyond the active Raging Bolt EX for the time being, just to be able to just pitch away one of your energy cards and deal enough damage to knock out this Badu. There's the fighting energy from the Crispin attachment. Teal Dance being utilized as well, being grabbed from that Crispin. Does find a Mew, which is sometimes quite nice. If a Pokemon gets knocked out, you can kind of bench it, but is more of a liability because it's easily knocked out by a Phantom Dive.
Yeah, that's the problem, is the low HP, although, you know, Aarni's deck does kind of triumph when it comes to littering those damage counters around. Absolutely. Regardless.
Yeah, there's the knockout on the Badu there. A bit of an over KO from the Bellowing Thunder. There's Ultra Ball discarding the Monkey Dory and the Luminous Energy. Can't attach, of course, a second Luminous Energy to your Pokemon, because on its text, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but provides only one energy at a time. But the key part, if any other special energy is attached, it provides a colorless energy instead. But we have the Ultra Ball now. He was holding it for this very moment, being able to get that Serendipity EX. So let's see if that can completely flip the script here and try and put Aarni in a better position for this Swiss round 7, being already 1 game down.
That's absolutely Serendipity's job, and let's see if this is going to make the difference. I think I saw a Psychic Energy. Yep. We got it!
Hits the Psychic Energy, which is fantastic. It hits Buddy Poffin as well. Now, we know a couple of those Dreepies are prized, but it's ever so important still to at least get another one online as soon as possible. Here comes Recon Directive, of course, utilizing every bit of value you get from your abilities here. And here comes the Recon Directive. Top 2 cards, one to hand, one to bomb. There's Dreepy.
There's Dreepy, but he's gone. It's okay. We can grab him later. We have a Poffin to lure him back out.
Absolutely. Here comes the Buddy Poffin now. The only other Dreepy in the deck currently with 2 prize, I'm pretty sure. And there comes the Duskull and the Dreepy there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Aarni probably would have picked a second Dreepy if it was available. So now, what do we work with at the moment? We haven't played a supporter yet. Here comes Pokepad. Also, just getting the Duskull, or Dusclops, I should say, to evolve up, getting it out of the deck for the moment. And now we're just going to shuffle up. Sure, we're going to have to just try and maybe hit that Iono, because your opponent is sitting on quite a big hand currently.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you've got a big hand like this, although we don't have any Hoothoot on the bench to utilize right now, you kind of do want to disadvantage your opponent by saying, actually, I'm not going to let you just sit on that many. I'm going to bring you down, knowing you don't have a hoot hoot, and hopefully leave you a little bit stuck there because I'm taking out this Raging Bolt, popping that Dusclops, KOing it, a prize card on either side because, of course, we're going to do the INO first.
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful play, putting the prize card that Aman took to the bottom of the deck.
Yeah, and making Jaman only picking 4 cards from the Iono now as well, just even more inhibiting what he may have access to on a future turn. Does also pick up, I think that Neo Upper Energy was also picked up into hand for future turns, but right now just working with this Dragapult EX, big Phantom Dive knockout here, 60 damage counters to place on your opponent's side of the board for the moment. It'd be rare if it's not at least 1 on that Teal Mask, and there it is, 1 damage counter. That brings it within range of another Phantom Dive shortly. And then here we go. Just what to play with in terms of the damage counters, I think, is what we're trying to work with here. Just going to probably likely target that Fan Rotom, at least kind of put it in range of a future attack as well. And then the 4 on the Noctowl, which is perfect math as well. Yeah, we want to be setting up for as many double knockouts as possible, just to rake those prize cards in exactly when we want them. And that's exactly what Dragapult is best at right now. And that's, I think, why we've seen so many picnic basket in decks today. Yeah, absolutely. And here comes Earthen Vessel here. Just going to have cherry pick some more cards from the deck. Maybe looking for more Pokemon to be able to try and Teal Dance onto, because it does have Crispin in hand, has Nest Ball. I think he has another Grass Energy in hand already as well, so could go down the angle of another Teal Dance, but let's just get some of those Grass Energies out of the deck right now. We can Teal Dance to the active to see some cards before we make our next ball choice as well. It's going to be a bit of a tricky scenario here. This is sometimes the trouble with Raging Ball, when you can't go first and start Wellspring, Ogerpon, EX, and Torrential Pumping, can be a bit tricky. We might be relatively okay here. We've got a Nest Ball. We just hit a Night Stretcher. We've got a Crispin in hand. So this might be all right. And actually, yeah, now we're going for the Pheasantipity with that Nest Ball. So from the Teal Dance, there's potential for a big comeback KO here. I can see it. It's only going to take, what, 1 Crispin and then 1 extra energy on top of that? Yeah, so it's going to be a bit crazy. It depends on what these cards. There's Area Zero on that. There's another Crispin and a Fan Rotom. Not quite in it. Still needs to find an easy way to retreat out the active, with maybe looking for that Latias as well. Yeah. But maybe just missed the mark here. Has access to that Night Stretcher as you mentioned. I mean, your only real target is that Raging Bolt EX for this turn here, but is that the direction you go down? It looks like that's the decision Jaman's taking. I think you have to, but you can't take a KO this turn, which is such a pity. Here comes a Crispin as well. Do you just send up something like the Fan Rotom, just deal 70 damage? Whittle away a bit, make it easier for a future turn. It's still a multiple of 7. You're still working on your 7 times table there. Absolutely. Makes your math a little bit easier with Raging Bolt. Don't really want to be sending that up. You don't want to keep the Teal Mask Ogerpon in the active spot because that is currently under threat. Yep, and we're going to see the retreat here. Yep. Pay the retreat cost. Now just needs Stadium, which I believe he had in hand. Yeah, in hand. We've got the Area Zero under depths, making that bench 8 wide. And, yep, 70 damage to the Dragapult. Just, you know, squish it up a bit. Absolutely. There comes the Dracloak. Aarni in what feels like quite a commanding position now. Does need to get an energy attachment. Finds one from that Recon Directive. Needs that energy attachment to the bench Dracloak there. Has the Dreepy also from the prizes that he took, which is fantastic. Has Boss's Orders, so can target some of the energies. Can actually remove 2 energies from play on this turn here. If we knock out the Teal Mask, Ogerpon EX, and the Fan Rotom, really making things as hard as possible for Japan to really come back in this game. This is the power of Dragapult. This is why it's so feared in this meta, is that decks that should, on paper, be unstoppable, like Raging Bolt, which has boundless damage output, in theory. You know, it really, to be able to stand up against a deck like that takes a lot. Here we go, straight in with the Raging Bolt. We can surely get the knockout this turn, but is it going to be enough to come back? Yeah, it's just a scoop up. I think after that flip the script, it wasn't enough. It wasn't the right 3 cards. We would have needed to try and take the big knockout on this Dragapult EX. So he scoops it up. Aarni takes game 2, and we'll take this to a game 3 now here at the Swiss round of 7 at the Seville Special Championships.
Raging Bolt became ancient history, and it might do it again, or will it stand the test of time? We've got a game 3 to find out exactly what's going to unfold. Let's check out the replay.
Yeah, absolutely. In this game 2 here, Aarni did sort of have to gamble a little bit, just stuck with just that single Dracloak on the bench, utilizing Badoo, slowed the game down enough, and was eventually able to find an Iono, get out of the game, take a massive knockout with his Dustclops, Curse Blast onto the active Raging Bolt EX, and then really sort of took a commanding position here, started setting up the board perfectly with the numbers and math, boss's orders on the Tilmask, Ogopon EX, and a massive knockout on the Fan Rotom, removing 2 energies from play, and that was all she wrote. Raging Bolt by itself with just that fighting energy could not do anything to stem the flow there. And it
just wasn't enough.
Yeah, into game 3 now, and I'm sure both players will be wishing game 3 goes the way their games that they won. After all, Jaman's going to be looking for that Wellspring Ogopon really to command the game early doors. Aarni's going to be looking to try and control the board with that Badoo and setting up into Dragapult nice and early. Well, let's see how this is going to go.
We've seen it from both sides. That's the beauty. We know the potential of each deck, and now it just comes down to this. Both players, don't get me wrong, are in a fantastic position to still make phase 2 of this event. So at the end of the day, they're still both good. They're still both in it. But this will just catapult one of them to those top spots for making a really hard stand in phase 2 to be going to those top placements. Absolutely.
So just over 14 minutes for this game 3. Aarni finally has his basic Pokemon, so there'll be an additional mulligan card that Jaman will be able to pick. So here comes the prizes. Neo RNG in the prizes there for Aarni.
I don't like it.
Double Crispin with the Pheasant Dipsy is also going to be a little bit painful, but yeah, Arnie's going to feel that one if he's not able to find the Neo Upper. Badoo in the active spot. Here comes Tilmask Ogopon in the active here now. Ultra Ball in hand. So we've got a number of pieces that will allow us to start setting up this board state as soon as possible.
Here we go. First nest ball. We're going to check the deck. We're going to know exactly how many Crispin we're working with. And then we'll be able to plan accordingly. And that's what it's all about. That's what these high-level players are used to at this point. It's what do I have access to? What could I gain access to later? The ifs and the buts are so important to work out at this stage. That's why prize checking, making sure that you know roughly what's in there, is so important.
Yeah, just having, I think it's going to be one of those first searches, looking for something like that Fan Rotom to kind of set up your board, get it ready for future Noctowns to be able to utilize that Jewel Seeker and really kind of start applying a lot of pressure. We're going Nest Ball first here for the Latias. We're going to see the Artisan come down here, I'm sure, for that Fan Rotom, that Fan Core ability. Again, it's just such an incredible ability to help set up. We find the Ditto, we find the Hoot Hoot as well. We're going to have that free retreat from the active, so Ditto's going to transform. Not Splup, I think. I do like Splup.
Transformative Star, a fantastic ability, not utilized in practically any other deck, but this one. But on your first turn, if Ditto is in the active, you can exchange it, pop it in the discard pile, for any other basic Pokemon in your deck. And of course, what are we going for, Alex?
Wellspring Ogopon EX, Amy. And what attack does it have?
It has Torrential Pump and Sob, and we love both of those attacks in this house.
Yeah, so despite having to give up the Artisan for your opponent to utilize as well, we do see now Aarni playing his own Buddy Poffin first. But, you know, this was the evil necessity that was required to be able to set up your board so that Jaman will have that Wellspring Ogopon EX in the active spot. So now it's over to Aarni. What can we do? He will be able to attack this turn, being able to go second. It looks like that Dust Goals come down from that Buddy Poffin. And another Badoo here. Again, just kind of giving a variety of different Pokemon on the bench as targets, really, for that Torrential Pump.
Variety's the spice of life. Look, we've got to have it.
Oh, I mean, it just feels great when you can just fill up your bench with all the Pokemon that you require. You have extra Badoos for once your Badoo and the active spot goes down. Have Lily Determination also just to replenish your hand, shuffle your hand back in and get 8 new fresh cards as well. It's a really great start. But remember, he's always going to be feeling it when you know you're facing up against this Wellspring in the active spot.
It's scary, and we've seen it before. We know what it does, and it doesn't get any easier to deal with.
Yeah, and you know your opponent has the Noctowl in hand already, so you know it's going to come flying in at some point. But what can we do to protect the board in the meantime?
We can itchy pollen and pray, Alex. That's what we can do. Itchy pollen and pray. It's our best defense. And obviously putting 3 Dreepy on the bench. Making sure that kind of we can't do any shenanigans that might cause multiple Dreepy to be knocked out this turn. Replacing Artisan with the Area 0 Underdepths and straight into Noctowl to seek some jewels for us. But which jewels will we choose?
We're going to have to go down that Crispin line. I'm sure he's already eyeing up some of those energies, especially that water energy that's required as the energy cost for Torrential Pump, of course. This is one of the tricky spots here, however, because when you use Torrential Pump to take and attack your opponent's bench, you do have to shuffle in those energies back into your deck. And that would leave Jaman with no energies on the board, currently at least.
But that's the beautiful thing about the way that this deck is constructed, is that we have Professor Sarda's Vitality and we have lots of Crispin. And that's what you want, is you want the energy everywhere but your hand for those supporters to have their full effects. So shuffling the back in isn't too bad, especially when Raging Bolt itself only requires 2 energy to attack. That's okay, we're cool with that. We've also got a gigantic bench right now. It can hold up to 8 Pokemon. And we've got all the energy required for a Torrential Pump. We're going for it, Badoo and Badoo!
Yeah, I really, really like that because you know your opponent's going to try and Badoo once again. But if you kind of force this scenario where he has to find another Night Stretcher, for example, to get it back, at the moment, this just removing the Badoos is far more critical because you know your Dreepies can't actually get into a Dragapult and start attacking, or maybe tank an attack because it's just can only go up to a Dracloak, and that's only got 90 HP. So then for the moment, let's remove the threats.
You could say that's a badon't. Not having any of that. But one is back. Night Stretcher comes to the rescue, very much in its name. And we're going to go for the Dusclops in the active. Pokepad, probably for, a Dracloak. And here we are. The engine is beginning to be put together, piece by piece.
Yeah, in this scenario, it does mean he's very likely to have to pop the Curse Blast Dusclops here just to get the Badoo back into the active spots. Because ideally, you still want to be committing your energy attachments to your Dracloaks and Dragapults, because that's really where you're going to be dealing the most damage, as there's the Ultra Ball, just to get a second Dracloak down now and start just getting that board state a bit more protected. It's really difficult for Jaman, if he is hit with an Itchy Pollen, to be able to Torrential Pump again on the next turn.
And Boss's orders tried to escape. He was like, play me! No, not now. Back you go.
Gotta save those for when we need them.
Okay, here we go. We're looking like we definitely need to make this hand a lot more advantageous for ourselves if you're Aarni. But we have bountiful draw power on the board right now. But first, it's Dusclops time. Who's the target?
Yeah, there's a couple of different options here. I mean, you're probably likely to try and, he's targeting down that Hoot for the moment, bringing it down to 20 HP remaining. Another Duskull comes down and, of course, hits Jaman with another Iono post Curse Blast as well. So now down to just 3 cards for Jermaine to actually be working with. And now it's all over to Aarni to try and just save this game a little bit. But at the same time, I don't feel like he's feeling too bad in this situation. Pokepad could grab another Cloak as well. And then we've got 3 live, 3 ready to go.
The only thing we're struggling with, once again, and much how the other game with the Wellspring Ogerpon went, is that we don't have any energy in play. And that's going to be the struggle once again, is buying enough time with Badoo that we can get energy on the relevant Pokemon. And hoping that Armand doesn't have the means to strike them down when they have energy on the bench. And that's why that Iono is so impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. And typically the way Jamal could do that was with the quote-unquote baby Raging Bolt, right? With its fantastic attack to be able to snipe against some of your opponent's bench Pokemon, or utilizing things like Torrential Pump. But Torrential Pump's got quite a big, massive cost to itself. Just being able to, if you Crispin, you can only re-get 2 energies onto it. You can't energy switch energy onto it either, because you're going to be under Itchy Pollen lock. So it's a scenario where I think right now Aarni He's going to feel pretty content with this position. We're going to get an issue pollen off, I'm sure. Likely he's going to get sobbed back. But at the same time, you're building out your board, and that's the most important thing.
If Oman manages to draw out of this, it is quite a fantastic situation. Even if we only took the one prize card on this Badoo, if we managed to once again get that Vitality Band, that could be huge. Going ahead, attaching for turn.
Oh, I like this.
Oh, this is lovely.
Just the boss's orders onto that Pheasantipity with an NG attachment, so does have Sob live. Mew gets a chance to restart for an extra card as well. I do wonder.
Oh, Mega Kangaskhan. Okay. A card that I didn't expect to see in this deck, but can have some huge raw draw power and can utilize Crispin as well. So I understand its inclusion, but right now, Pheasantipity is trapped.
Yeah, typically a lot of these Dragapult EX Dustwar decks don't really have ways to maneuver around like this outside of that Latias EX of his own. So Pheasantipity is going to be stuck there for a moment, but is that okay? Probably not. You don't really want to ever be giving up a 2-prizer, but you have seen your opponent expend that boss's orders, which is also ever so vital in a scenario.
Yeah, at the end of the day, when you look at Armand's kind of prize race, the map that they need to take 3 more prize cards. They're hoping on this Pheasantipity, and then it's just one more, which kind of means that Duskull can't do anything. That is not an option anymore. And then also it means that you could just go for the Badoo or something at the end to mop it up. But we're going to need to hit the bench or use a boss for that. So using the boss early feels like a catch-22.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's an evil necessity, as we kind of similar mentioned before. Hilda getting that Dragapult EX and Illuminous Energy. So does evolve up the one with the Fire Energy attached. Gets a Psychic Energy attached as well. Cannot maneuver, as we mentioned, but he's trying to give an extra turn with that Noctowl trap there as well. Hit top decks and energy. Does also have access to item cards now as well. Here comes the Earthen Vessel. So I can cherry pick an item out of the deck. And then also potentially go into a sub lock again just to slow the game down. But we are starting to run out of time, remember, Amy? Sub 4 minutes remaining. 3 prizes to go for Jaman. All 6 still to go for Aarni. So we're really in the depths of the game right now. And
it's crunch time.
Can either player find a way to take all of their prizes and take this game and secure their spot in phase 2 with a better record rather than just going in at 5-1-1?
I reckon either player could win from this spot with this amount of time. We've seen Dragapult do it before. I can guarantee it can do it again. And Oman is very well on the way to making this happen. Here we go with the new restart. The Noctowl has an energy. We've got another Noctowl, and we can utilize that. So I think we're well on our way to a big KO here as well.
Yeah, so that Teal Dance from the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX did find that second Noctowl. We did get, of course, a chance to restart first. Again, getting maximum value from whatever draw power you have on the board state. But this means we could have a massive KO, as you've just highlighted there, Amy. And it's just going to be so important. I mean, Crispin's coming down again from that Noctowl. Will we see... We haven't used a Prime Catcher yet either. That's a potential avenue to go down. Really kind of stem the flow of what your opponent can utilize and draw. But it does mean your energy's going back into the deck. Oh, there's so many different scenarios you can play out here. Yeah, it's just... There
are, and I think that's the troublesome part, is that you do have to consider what the best line of attack is, quite literally. We like the Pheasantipity in the active. That's great for us. But,
yes, absolutely.
So do we want to use the Prime Catcher? Is it worth using as our kind of finisher? Probably. So we're just going to go with the double Crispin again, and it worked last time, Alex, so maybe it can work again.
Yeah, just ever so close here. So the water energy and the grass energy being cherry-picked from that Crispin. One has to be attached directly from the effect of Crispin, of course. There's the water energy attachment. And one goes to hands. So you still have... Oh, no, he's already attached energy to the active to retreat as well. So it looks like it's going to be another sub-lock here as well. Again, forcing the scenario where you know you can't maneuver this Pokemon out of the way. So I'm, at some point, going to take a massive knockout here. And here comes a Pokepad. Just over 1 minute remaining here into Aarni's turn. So here comes the Dust Clops once again.
can't be utilized or is very risky to utilize.
Absolutely.
It would put Aman onto 2 prize cards remaining to take for the game. So unless you're taking all 6 prize cards, I think that's a risky Pokemon to use, but it does thin the deck down and allows for more likely good draws off of our recon directives.
Yeah, absolutely. What's really cool as well, because areas are under desk, Aarni also has access to a board of 8, a bench board of 8, because Dragapult EX is in play. Do we utilize that as well? Here comes a second recon directive now. Do find the boss's orders.
Okay.
Maybe that's another way to target down the Pokemon he needs to KO in this turn. I mean, both your opponent's Ogapons right now have 2 energies attachment each. You can't really take out both at the same time, can you? We're going to try and go for that Noctowl stall play for one more turn. Again, stop the Soblock where possible.
Medicine. Yeah.
And this is just, I mean, he's holding a massive hand. He's got so many options. 9 seconds remaining, 8 seconds remaining now.
It's going to be a tight match, that's for sure. We're going with the Luminous, starting to threaten the choice of the Pheasantipity for maybe an attack or a retreat when possible.
Yeah, so it looks like after that energy attachment, time has been called. And we'll get confirmation, of course, if that is exactly the case. But if that is true, Aarni will be turn 0 here. And we are back to our +3 turns of time, of course. So Aarni will be turn 0, Shaman will be turn 1, Aarni turn 2, and then finally, Shaman will be the final turn of this game. And is there a way, with 2 turns remaining, that we can get this done?
I believe so. 3 prize cards remaining. I think it's very possible. But whether Aarni has the tactics to maneuver around that possibility, we're going to find out.
Yeah, looks just deliberating that jamming tower to come down as well here, bumping that area 0 under depths. So we'll have to remove 3 Pokemon to go to a board of 5 as per usual. There goes the Noctowl. There goes the Fan Rotom. Wants to try and keep some draw power where possible, but all the other cards are ever so important because the other Noctowl is in the active spot right now. And here comes another Ultra Ball here. Just deliberating what we can work with.
I don't know if there's much we can do other than thin the deck. I think that's got to be the angle, right? We're just trying to get all of the Pokemon out of the deck. You don't want to evolve those Dracloak. You need them. So it is, I think, at this time, just can I get all of the Pokemon out of the deck so that what I'm drawing is more likely to be what I need to win this match, or at very least bring this to a tie. Yeah,
Aarni not really in a position no more because of that Sob lock, that retreat lock from the Sob. If anyone's just joining us, that Pheasantipity has been attacked with Sob from that Wellspring Ogapon. It's just a pass over. So Jaman, this is turn 1 of time right now. So 2 turns remaining. We do get a Teal Dance first here.
The Professor Sada's vitality is huge here. We've got the energy we need in the discard pile. It would be nice if we had another ancient Pokemon in play, but it's not a necessity. We're going to go for the Crispin on this turn, which again is great if you know that there are 2 energy in the deck that you can utilize. And I imagine Aman has been very meticulously monitoring the energy in deck to make sure there's always 2 different types. Of course, one will likely go on the Noctowl, there it is, and the other to hand. And we can play that, of course, on our Wellspring Ogapon.
So yeah, it's just going to be a retreat into the Wellspring Ogapon EX right now. Now just kind of could Torrential Pump, take 1 prize here as an example, and then, I mean, you then would have to find a, oh yeah, there we go. It's just a Torrential Pump. It's going to be 100 to the active, so it's going to be on 140 damage taken. Takes out the Duskull there, just to stop any shenanigans from Aarni's side. But now that Pheasantipity can retreat, and there's one big target on Jaman's board right now, which is that Teal Mask Ogapon EX with 3 energies on it.
Yeah, that is the biggest target. Still can't overcome a Dragapult yet. Would need a lot more energy to be able to do that. But the Pheasantipity itself, very in danger. And we still have our ace spec.
Yeah, and to stop that as much as possible, that counter catcher is in hand. But do we do it now, or do we just try and lock a Pokemon? Yeah, it's just going to be trying to lock it instead. Noctowl coming to the active spot. Maybe we'll just maneuver into the Badoo here, just to try and stop the game from getting out of hand. There's a Iono as well, putting Jaman down to 2 cards. Yeah, with Aarni not able to really win in this position, because this is turn 2 of time. 6 cards here for Aarni. Just 2 cards for Shaman. Is there enough that can be done here if you just go into a Badu Itchy Pollen Knock once again?
And that's it. That's all. That's what this is all about at this stage. Aarni is playing not to lose and using everything in their power to stop Aman. We see the Prime Catcher. We've got Area 0 Underdepths, Fan Rotom, and we can Prime Catcher.
Can't Prime Catcher with the Itchy Pollen.
No, we can't.
Restart for 2, and it's not enough.
No, we can't use anything.
There's the fist bump. I think that's it. It's going to be just a tie and ending of this Swiss round 7. Aarni's been able to protect himself from necessarily losing. Both players do make it into phase 2 now with a 5-1-1 record. So they will have one more round to try and push themselves as high up at that standing as possible. But really true, commending both our players right here, right now, because really showcasing how powerful both of their decks are. And it's just a 1-1 here. Shaman's so close to actually taking it all down. But we get a chance to replay exactly how it all went down from game 1 here, where that Wellspring Ogerpon really took charge.
That Wellspring Ogerpon with the Vitality Bound, genius. I'm going to say it now. I'll say it again later, I'm sure. But that is genius. Making sure you can always easily KO a Badu. And did we see it once? No, friends, we did not see it once. We saw it twice. Brilliance. Here we go again with the second one. There it is after the torrential pump, taking 3 Badu out in one singular game, taking a flurry of prize cards that Aarni just could not keep up with. Aarni just wasn't finding the energy they needed, and in the end, a huge bellowing thunder took out the Dragapult to take game 1.
Yeah, and then game 2, being able to go first here just kind of limits the options that Jermaine has access to. And then that way, he did have to gamble a little bit with that single Badu, single Dracloak on the board state, but it paid off. He was able to go into that Dragapult EX, take a massive knockout alongside a Curse Blast of the Dusclops there, and also putting Jermaine down to 4 cards with the Iono just before taking the knockout, and then setting up the board state for perfect math, constantly removing the energies from the board state, and really just too much for Jermaine to actually come back from. So that was a scoop up and concession of game 2. And then into game 3, it was starting to look the same as game 1, Amy.
It was looking very similar, but we went a different way about it, taking both Badu with their torrential pump really early on. And then Aarni kind of managed to claw things back a bit. But much like game 1, where's all the energy? We finally, after some turmoil, managed to get them onto a Dragapult. But by that point, Wellspring Mask Ogerpon was sobbing so much that Serendipity just could not get out of the active spot. And both players were trying to lock one another into the active, with Noctowl and Serendipity being the poor souls that were being subject to that kind of stickage. They're just stuck.
Yeah, certainly was stuck for quite a while. I mean, I'm just kind of think back to the game, whether there maybe would have been a direction that Jermaine could have gone with, just